Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast. John Duncan here. And of course, I'm joined as always with both of my co hosts, Jimmy Marion and Darian Smith. Never a sweat, guys. Undefeated,
Yeah,
baby.
never a
Let's
doubt. Let's go.
go. Hey, never a doubt. We'll get to that game shortly. But this episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast is brought to you by Cahaba Brewing. And shout out to Cahaba Brewing, third year in a row sponsoring the Blazer Victory podcast. So thank you again to Cahaba. Everybody, go out to the tap room, get you a six pack wherever you see Cahaba with a supermarket wherever. Please get a six pack, and if you're at the tap room, let them know that you heard about Cahaba on the Blazer Victory podcast, and we're gonna spotlight my favorite beer from them, the Oka Uba IPA. Um,
Is that what
fantastic.
you had in your backpack last night, John? You were toting around?
Yes, I did.
Did you bring
Um,
any home or did you drink them all?
no comment. After the game, yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, shout out again to Cahaba Brewing, sponsoring the podcast. Um, y'all go support Cahaba. And hey, YouTube, hopefully you're watching us now. Blazer Pod is the handle. We're about 70-ish subscribers from the 500 mark, which would be a big deal for us. That opens up some more opportunities. So please tell a friend, or if you're listening to the audio, subscribe to the YouTube channel, even if you don't watch us. Just or if you have a wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, family member, get that phone, subscribe to the Blazer Victory podcast on their YouTube channel, and they don't even have to watch us. Just get those numbers up. So, but thank you everyone that subscribes currently. Um,
We had
but
a
yeah,
few people that at the game before the game
yeah.
started last night that came by and said hello. We had a couple from Huntsville that had said hello and said they were avid listeners, so we appreciate y'all and whether it be Michael or Jeff or Amy, I'm trying to remember Nathan I met like in a lot of different fans and supporters.
I saw Carter too in the stands. I saw William after the game. A bunch of people, Chad. A lot of
Um,
people.
Shout out to my man. I want to make sure I get his last name right. Charles Scribner. Is that it? He
Black
runs the
Warrior, baby.
yeah,
Let's go.
yeah. He does a good job with getting with the team and community service
Yeah.
and cleaning up spots. So shout out to him, man. He loaned me 6 tickets I was able to give out to a lot of people. Shout out to Jeff. Jeff, I don't know if is it
Jeff,
Jeff?
it's
Is
Jeff. Jeff, yeah, that's my boy,
Yeah,
Jeff.
Jeff with a
Yeah.
G.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
met
Uh-huh.
Jeff
Jeff
for the
last night.
G. Yeah, he
Shout
he
out.
loaned out a couple tickets. There's a couple people that gave me tickets, man. Shout out to those people. We was able to get some fans there. Then that was their first time. So I'm gonna try to do that every game, every home game. Try to get some tickets that people are not using,
Mm-hmm.
and get people there. So it's a couple Blazer fans out there and that'll like the opportunity to go. So if you have some tickets that you're not gonna be able to use for the week, holla at me. Daydread75 on Twitter, Darian Smith, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And then just let me know. We'll get some people there. But shout out to you, Charles. 6 of them. That's what's up. Get with my man if you want to do some community service. He's been doing a great job.
Yes. Well, I guess we need to talk about the game, right?
No, let's just move on
Yeah.
to next week.
Okay. Oh, previewing Navy.
Yeah. No, wait, Akron. Let's talk about Akron, maybe.
Well, no, it's some good things that we can take
Yes.
away from this game,
Well,
though.
we need to do that. But first, if y'all missed it, UAB did win a football game last night. The offense looked spectacular. Defense not so much. But UAB wins 52-42.
I don't like the shootouts though.
Hey,
So I do.
let's start with the offense here. Let's start with the offense.
Well, I do pose this question just in a general question.
Hmm.
Like, why is the field so different from we needed a goal line stand back in what was that 2019?
Yes.
Or
Yeah,
we
the
needed a goal
2019.
line stand against Alabama State to win that game, right?
Yeah.
So why is this field like that game really came down to the wire?
Hmm.
I don't do, and it's hard to go back to remember how you felt. I think that's kind of difficult to do. I guess we can try. I don't know what, how can we compare that to this year?
Yeah. Yep.
And what's the difference there overall?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So back in 2019, we mentioned, or Jimmy mentioned, previous episode, uh, coming off the big 2018 season, uh, home opener to start the 2019 season, but Bill Clark, super vanilla offense game plan. Super, I think, um, was it Spencer Brown still 2019 or whoever was running back? I
No,
think.
I think we had the it was a like a formal walk on, I believe. I thought because I remember thinking like I think Spencer Brown was a true freshman.
I got the box score pulled up. So 2019 UAB was victorious 24 to 19. First quarter teams combined to score 27 points. It was 14 to 3 at the end of the first quarter, and then the UAB defense only allowed 6 points the remainder of the game. Part of the reason why the game came down to the wire like it did was that despite scoring 10 points in the second quarter and taking a 24 to 13 lead into the halftime, UAB offensively did not score in the second half. And so that was a team that was led by Tyler Johnson, who completed 8 pass attempts for that game
Mm,
for 114 yards, a touchdown, a QBR of 18. But you did have Spencer Brown with 23 carries for 77 yards, three,
right.
I got it
you
mixed
know,
up.
and then Jonathan Hayden was on that team. But Tyler Johnston was successful on the ground, 12 rushes, 64 yards in the score. So it seems like this game, in comparison, I think that's the biggest thing that. Oh, that team had Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Alabama State. Remember we were talking about him the other day? Isn't he the one
Hmm.
Hmm.
that's with the Commanders or whatever?
Yeah.
That UAB defense held him to 5 carries for 14 yards, and now he's in fantasy football drafts, if I heard y'all right. So.
Oh yeah, I got him circled. I think I'm taking him with my next pick.
Yeah, but I think it starts with like Darian. Leading into that ball game, you think about the sample size. You have the year 2014, you have 2017, you have 2018 as it relates to like the elevation of the program, right? So in 2018, coming off, I think that was the, yeah, 2018 was the
First
year in
bowl
which
win.
we, yeah, first bowl
Hmm.
win. We went to Middle Tennessee, won a conference championship. And so everything was like riding high. And you had the sample size of like, okay, what's our identity? Like you knew who we were offensively, you knew what we were going to bring defensively. So there weren't as many, I think, question marks. And conversely, when you look at this, current iteration of the UAB Blazers team, we're coming off 2 years, and you can also count whatever it was, a 7 and 6 year under interim coach Bryant Vincent, where the
Hmm.
Blazers haven't reached that level of success that we were accustomed to under Bill Clark in his tenure. And so I think last night the difference would be okay, well, it was for some probably here we go again kind of mentality. Like it was, they were looking for something different. Like they were looking for
Hmm.
something on the defensive side with all the changes. Their expectations were maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit too high. I don't know if I should, if that's a good way of saying it, but I think they were looking for something different. I think some people walked away with defense and not seeing the change that they want to, and then maybe trying to lean right back into, well, it wasn't good the last 2 years, and here's how we performed, and like, here we go again. And I don't know if that's fair, by the way, but I'm just saying, like, I think that
Hmm.
number of question marks, and there weren't enough answers to that in game one for people just to be like, okay, we are going to turn the corner.
Fair.
Yeah, I think that's a good assessment there.
But the spin would be Trent Dilfer and this UAB Blazers team beat Alabama State by twice the amount of points that
Let's
Bill
go.
Clark and UAB did in 2019. And in
Let's-
2019, that UAB football team made the conference championship. We lost to FAU that year. We lost our bowl game to App State, but I think we won 8 or 9 games. And so
Mhm.
if we can win, let's talk about that offense, right?
Hey, that running. running back tandem that we saw last night, Jackson, BB, hey, the O line opening the holes, good. Jalen Kitna, best game by far as a UAB Blazer. Which
Tulsa.
oh
Tulsa,
nah,
Tulsa, he just went ham. What do you have, like six
Yeah,
touchdowns or something
he wa-
crazy?
he
I'm
went
sorry.
crazy against Tulsa.
Best game by far wearing a gold helmet.
Yeah,
There
there we
you
go.
go.
Yeah. But
But
for
yeah,
they had Jalen had one bad pass that almost got intercepted, but he was spot on, man. He
But
was
even I just looked at that pass. Even that
uh
pass, that
yeah,
linebacker made a really good play. Like
he
that
did.
linebacker really got up and it overextended himself to try to get that one. So
True.
I'm not even I think that was just a good play. Honestly, I think Jalen just played a
Hmm.
I don't really have any complaints. He played a really clean game and he trusted his O line.
Exactly.
Like he,
18
he
of 23 for 247 and two touchdowns. So that's stat line.
he was able to step up in the pocket, drink coffee, check his emails, scroll through Twitter. That's why I'm looking when you look at this game and you see how much we ran the ball and all the yards and the O line has to be to me, and it's not because
Mhm.
I'm a former offensive lineman. Oh, he's just an offensive lineman. You go back and look at the
No.
game. We
Hmm.
talked about how Jalen Kitna. We talked about when we went to practice. We said if you give him time,
Hmm.
he's one of the best quarterbacks in this conference with time because he has all of the tools. And I think he was able to show that. Like, if you give him time, he'll pick you apart. But our whole thing was like, if he doesn't have time, unfortunately, he didn't even have to come close to facing that kind of scenario this game. It was a couple batted balls, but I think it was because the O line was stonewalling them at the line to where they just kind of hopped back and jumped up and got their hands up. Um, Other than that, man, I mean, I don't see how you can. He didn't take off running when he didn't have to. Sometimes people sit in the pocket too long. They just like somebody got to be coming open. I'm gonna scramble out.
Right.
No, he stepped up, look around. He waved to me. I said, "What's up, Jalen?" You know what I'm saying? Like, how's your brother? How's your dad? And everything. We talked a little bit, and then he was like, "All right, let me throw this touchdown to Corey Milliner real quick."
oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a great performance by the O line. I want to make sure I highlight that, and I know they reshuffled it like, and they brought Brandon Snay into the starting lineup at left tackle, and they
Hmm.
slid Logan over to the right, and they started A Train at center, Caleb Perez and Darius Morgan. It was a really good showing. Now, I do think on that fourth and
Oh
one.
yeah, yeah. Mm-mm.
I'm gonna talk about that real quick because we had momentum. We were up 17-14, I believe, at that time. And it was fourth and one. You know, we had got to stop on defense. We had got to stop on defense. That's the Calvin pitcher sack. And then, we just had a good return from Iverson Hooks and we was going downfield and we was like on our 5 yard line or something, like six, something like that. And I believe, and this is my opinion, when I looked at that, I watched it, I probably watched it over 20 times, just trying to see what I can see. And I don't think it was a good call. I really don't. And I say that to say I don't think we had an advantage. Sometimes people go with pace, and sometimes I don't agree with that, especially on the fourth and one. I think you go with pace when you got guys on their hands on their hips, we in the middle of the field, and we're just going and going, and they can't keep up. But when it's fourth and one and everything is
Yeah.
going slow, get up to the line, identify. I felt like we didn't give ourselves an advantage on that. We kind of went up to the line and tried to go quick, and we ran right into their defense. We didn't have a numbers advantage. We overextended our offensive line. Guys were
Mhm.
able to get good angles on us. I think if we would have paused, got into another running play to the other side, I think we would have walked in for a touchdown. Me personally.
Wasn't it just like a halfback dive was the play call?
Yeah, it was just like a straight up A gap.
Mm,
We running it straight towards you, but I think we ran right into the teeth of them. We
mm,
didn't stop. We didn't get to the line and get into the best play. We
mm.
just said we're going to run this play, and we just got up quick. And I think they was just that they were in an advantage in that position. So when I looked at it and I saw how overextended our O line was. Like we had our right guard trying to come over and block the guy that was over the center trying to reach a linebacker. We had a left guard trying to pull out. He tripped up. He ended up blocking
Mm,
nobody. Like
mm.
it was just a mess. And
Bad. Yeah.
I was like, I wish we would have just stopped, got into another play call, and because they couldn't stop us, we were
Mm.
identifying them good, but. I think that's something we can learn from. I think we have the O line to be like, all right, let's just call the best play. Don't try to go quick all the time. So that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah. And hey, shout out. We never saw Patrick Foley one time. Not one single punt.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And that the turnover down on downs, that was the only turnover, you know. So
Hmm.
A plus, well, A A minus for the offense. Well, you could say A plus outside of that fourth down
What
play.
you guys think about the receivers?
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Jimmy, obviously Corey Milner stood out, but who else stood out to you in the receiver room last night's game?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is just seeing Strap, Robertson Hooks get back involved in the game. That's somebody that's been with the program and he was with
Yes.
the previous staff and chose to stay with Trent Dilfer and the new staff. And he's battled injuries a lot throughout his career, going back to his high school days. And last year he was able to play in a lot of games, but wasn't really himself for whatever reason, likely, probably physically. And to see him come out, and we've heard really positive things about Strap when he's healthy. There's been moments, I think it was against 2 years ago, we opened up, was it North Carolina A&T? I think he had a score
Mm-hmm.
late, and then it was Georgia Southern. He had a score, I think, in the road that I think we were together
Right.
and John's man cave and his Blazer cave watching that one. And he had started off the year, I think it was 2 touchdowns early and got hurt. And so he's shown
And then
those
he
flashes.
shined against Georgia that year. You remember? That's when everybody was like, "Ooh, this." But I think that's the game he got hurt as well, if I'm not
I know
mistaken.
Amari Thomas had a
I
crazy
think
good
he got
performance.
hurt for Southern. Yeah, the
Uh,
Amari is the one you were thinking of, Georgia.
Yeah.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Amari kind of
So
had a coming out party, but that's the first guy I think about. And I think that like the combination of Hooks and Milner, like you saw it early. I mean, the one score in which Milner, there was a couple of times where Milner was just wide open because he got
Mhm.
open, right? But I
Yeah.
mean, there was like a couple of times like, oh my God, like it was like he caught the ball and he was looking around, like going back
It's
to the
like
Jalen
nobody
Simmons.
within 20 yards. Yeah.
Yeah, he caught the ball and he looked up and he after Jalen got done talking to Darian, he was like, "Hey Darian, hey buddy, like what's up with the fam? Appreciate you."
he
Uh,
ran over to John, had one or two or three of John's beers, right?
yeah.
Like
Let's go.
Yeah. But he got open and was it the 4th and 4 play in which I think they went to Milner to get that conversion there late. I think it was a Milner pass reception
yeah,
I
yes, it
think it was
was.
and
Milner.
catch.
Yeah.
So
On a out. Yeah,
yes. Yeah, so it's like they flash to me and then of course you have the hooks, score, they're close to the end zone there early. I mean, I just really like to see the combination of those guys reveal themselves. I think BJ Hawkins had a big reception, a 41-yard reception, which is good. Outside of that, with
I
the
think McCray caught a couple balls, maybe.
Yep,
Yeah,
he did. Yeah,
Hmm.
early. I remember one early. But my point on that is like I'm curious to see what else evolves out of that receiver room because I think you're going to need more, production from those two guys, right? And I think we're going to face some defense. They're going to lock one or try to, take them out game plan wise. And so, in my opinion, like I think I saw Caleb Brown on the sideline, but I don't believe he came in at all. So I don't know if he's nicked up or what was going on with that. But he
I saw him get in the game. He almost got rolled up on. Well, he did get rolled up on by Solomon Beebe on that play that
okay.
Mm.
it was like a when Solomon Beebe caught the ball. You remember it was like a play action two
Yeah.
back look. He caught the ball, faked in, but he got rolled up. I almost thought it was one of those that was like he hopped right back up
Mm.
though.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
good,
yeah,
good.
Yeah, I'm curious,
he
like
was in.
receiver room, like, as we move forward in the season, like as someone you would anticipate someone like Caleb Brown being more involved. I saw Daisy out there, but in particular, what are we going to see from Evan McRae as we move forward? We just mentioned him, Caleb Brown, and then also AJ Johnson. Like those are, three transfers that I think can complement what you will see from maybe what is like a 1A, 1B in Milliner and Hooks.
Right.
And I also wonder if we're gonna feed some tight ends some nuggets or two, right? They did a wonderful job blocking. I want to make
Yeah.
sure I want to. We did a lot of 12 personnel, which is
Mm,
too tight. JC Sylvie and Elijah Lag, they primarily held that down all game, and they did a great job identifying deuce blocking, triple blocking. Like they did really great. So I want to make sure just because they didn't get any catches. And I hope we do work them into the game plan because I think they deserve it. Like,
yeah.
have you ever watched basketball and it's like sometimes they're like, hey man, feed the big man on the fast break, feed them because they doing all the dirty work and they getting the
Mhm.
rebounds and they blocking shots. Sometimes it's kind of like, hey, feed them, get them something, draw Elijah Lag something, whatever, because they were really getting down in the trenches. Great cutoff blocks. People don't understand how important those details is because you just see a guy spring on the outside, right? You see something happen
Mhm.
and you think, oh, look at that running back. He did such a good job. And that running back did do a good job, but the tight end sealed the edge.
Oh,
Like,
right.
John, I know you was drinking a lot. You could have hit the edge sometimes, because the tight end had it sealed up, and all you had to do was go around. Excuse me, sir. That's all. I was like, I'm gonna run past you real quick because you blocked up.
Right.
So good job by the tight ends. I want to make sure they get some love too.
I know we mentioned just briefly the running back room, but I really like the way they were utilized. Like specifically, you look at a guy like Isaiah Jacobs, and probably going into the fourth quarter, I don't have it in front of me. I think he probably had like one or two carries at most. And then you saw in the fourth quarter, late in the ball game, when we were trying to methodically drive out the clock a little bit and hold on to a small lead, you saw that they went in that direction. That had to be pretty tough for a guy like Jackson who was having literally the game of his life because that was a career
Mhm.
high. He averaged almost 8 yards a carry, and was, performing really well. And then you had Solomon Beebe, who I believe that must have also been a career high, I would envision, rushing for him. But you've got this room, and I like to see the way that they utilize that. And I envision that might switch up a little bit, depending on, how the season goes. But it was nice to see that live and to see it in a game how they planned, and they did. You mentioned the play where they had the two running backs in, they had the pass to BB. So I'm really excited about this running back room, and that's been a giant bright spot, not just in fall camp from what we were hearing, but also what we saw on Thursday night.
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm glad you brought up Jacobs too. I mentioned Jackson and BB earlier, but Isaiah Jacobs, 8 carries, 42 yards, averaging over five a pop, one touchdown. Hey, we're gonna need all three of these guys um, for throughout this season. Um, I think we're good on the offense,
All right,
unless
let's go ahead and wrap up, and everybody have
let's go.
a
Hey, hit the door. Hey, let's go. No, defense, 42 points, guys. Uh, we were talking a little bit before we recorded. Darian is starting his film review. Um, mentioned guys just looking lost. Like,
Yes.
I mean, I Darian, you want to take it here? Like, I don't know. Yeah,
Can I say one thing just as a caveat before we jump into the
yeah,
subject?
yeah.
Is that I think it's important, and we talked about this in our text thread last night, and Trent did make note of this in the post-game presser, that the defensive side of the ball, they're nicked up. They're
Hmm.
nicked up defensively. We were chatting last night. There were more than a handful of players that we would have anticipated going into the season being involved on the 2D, playing a big role. And there were moments last night in which, we don't have to name particular players, but there were moments last night in position groups where it would have been surprising if you would have told me before the game that this combination would be in together. Not that they would be playing individually, but together, given all the transfer portal additions that we brought in. And so, I just want to bring up, like, we're going to be fair and honest in our assessment. And I
Right.
think, like, if you remove the emotion out of it, I think it is extremely fair to say, like, that is nowhere close to a finished product, not just in
Mm-hmm.
like them coming together as a unit, but in the personnel that they had available. I have no idea who Alabama State was missing. I'm not trying to make excuses for anything. This coach and this whole staff has said that they need to earn it. And so they're going to have to earn, I guess, the trust of people that the defensive staff has turned things around, TBD. But I just wanted to preface this conversation with saying that like that was by far nowhere close to
Mm-hmm.
a healthy defensive unit that we saw on Thursday night.
Love it.
And that is correct. Like what Jimmy is saying is true. I think two starters on the defensive line and Nigel Tate. Oh, well, we can say and Nigel Tate and J Mike. They both were out. And
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica Rogers, who was having a great camp, right, and it was coming off the edge. He wasn't wearing no walking boot or anything. Looked like it probably been preventive maintenance. Not Nigel
Mm-hmm.
Tate looked like a different story. We didn't see also the backup defensive tackle Josiah Peterson. Uh, we saw a limited amount of DeMarcus Smith. He was out there, but he wasn't out there that much, defensive tackle. We didn't see Jaquan Mason, right?
Yep.
Like it was a couple of players in a defensive front that we didn't see, right? We didn't see Perry Fisher, cornerback.
Yep.
We didn't see Josh Baca, safety, right?
Hmm.
I feel like I'm missing somebody else out there, but it was a lot of players that we didn't see that we were looking forward to seeing. We were excited about. But with that being said, we still had a nice starting unit out there. I think even if you remove a lot of those players, it was still like a good starting unit. And on the first drive, Andrew Bodie scampered for how long? It was one pass that he had for like 15 yards, and then it was like a 50, 60 some yard run, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, and when you look at plays and what I was so frustrated about in the first half, and I haven't really been able to watch the second half. So we played, and this is what Steve Russ even talked about. He was like, man, he said, hey, guys weren't like if you kind of look at last year, guys didn't work as a unit. Like they didn't complement each other. Linebackers wasn't complementing defensive line. Cornerbacks didn't complement. You got to work together as a group, then as a team. That didn't happen. And then also, when you look at it, it's just kind of like we looked like we didn't know what to do. And in the first half, you had guys just going, all they did was just like send a receiver here, fake to the running back here. Who has the ball? We had a defensive tackle linebacker going to, oh no, Andrew Bo. And it's kind of like, we don't know what we're doing here. Like, what are our assignments is what I was saying. I don't, and I'm an offensive lineman. I didn't play defense in college, but I do know you have your assignments. If you watch a lot of sound teams play, everybody's going to trust their keys and they're going to go. And Steve Russ harped about this. Like, this is something that he has been keen on. And he's a guy that's fluent in triple option, right? So we play Navy and we play Navy next and the armies of the world. And he's known to, how can I put it? He's like a professor. He speaks that language. He knows how to stop that.
Yeah.
if if we couldn't really get it against, and I don't know what the film review on Alabama State was. I don't know what they had to go off of, right? If y'all have any clue, y'all can let me know. Like maybe I don't know if it wasn't much film out about Andrew Bodie or Body. Andrew Body.
We don't know. I heard
We
Bodie
don't
on
know.
the late, and then we said Body pregame. But you're right,
Yeah.
Darren, because there was only one game of him at Alabama State from the year
Yeah.
prior, and he did running wise exactly what he did last night, but through the air he did not. And then you go back you have to go back multiple years to then look at Texas Southern to see what he was doing there. But they had less than a one game sample size of what he was able to do at Alabama State last year.
So you get a healthy Andrew Body. I'm gonna go with Body. You get a healthy Andrew Body with no film almost. You don't know the game plan. It's kind of like, maybe we'll just get out there and just play. I think they did a good job of, especially in the first half, of just having guys going here, there. that quarterback keeper he scored for a touchdown. It was like up fake to the running back, then I'm gonna fake this pass, and then I'm going up the middle. We had guys not knowing where to go, right?
Mm.
Um, but then also I saw some effort stuff out there that I'm just like, dude, what are I don't know if effort is the word. We just stopped playing. We didn't play through the whistle. One of the passes he threw, we had a guy that just kind of like, oh, I got this guy one on one, and then it was like, all right, play's over. Play's not over. It's a touchdown. Your guy's going in for a touchdown. Why did you stop? I have no
Mhm.
idea. I was just looking like, what are we doing? We had a third
Mhm.
and one when they drove the field and scored. We had a third and one when we had a guy that had a guy dead. We had a guy that had one of their guys dead to rights. Just fall down with them. It was a negative get. Just fall down, and he just stopped playing. And the guy just kept running, and he scored. I mean, and he got a first down, and they end up scoring on that drive. It was so many, and I can name out specifics, and then we'll do more of that in the Patreon. But it was so many plays like that, guys. Watching that first half is so frustrating because you're like, dude, you know how many times on that one drive we was in third down? Do you know when we came out of halftime, we got them in the third and five or whatever, and the play they scored on, we had them dead to rights again, and
Mhm.
we had a player just stop playing. And I'm just like, dude, why are we? Can we play through? You see, if you watching this on YouTube, you'll see I am like getting frustrated over here. I'm just like, just there's no X's and O's to this. There's no just play through the whistle,
Right.
literally. And I know y'all have heard that line all the time. Play through the whistle, play through. And I'm so serious. That's all it was. And I just it's just frustrating. I don't know if it's first game jitters or just trying to figure out exactly where you're supposed to be or how to be. There's a lot of film to look at, and these are things I'm curious about going into next week. And I want y'all to speak on the defense too. But do we take this game and then when we're like, is it an eye opener for us? It's like, damn, if we just do this, and if we can get three of those players back healthy, you know, and we look at this film and say, man, we just play through the whistle. We got to make sure, and we just got to make sure we lock in on our keys. So if they beat us, they beat us. But God dang it, we're gonna make them beat us. Or or is this just us?
Mm-mm. I hope not.
We
I
know,
don't know.
let me say this is that to that question, I think it's going to come down to you hear that overused terminology about the culture of the locker room, because we've heard a lot about how the team responds. And so, to your
Hmm.
very point, we don't know until we see next week and beyond. But if you do have this team that's got this professional, spirit about them, they're more professional, they're more productive from the prior stops, then personally, I would think that this type of close game and scare against that type of quarterback, that dual threat, because we're going to see later in really soon,
Dude, Horvath,
really soon,
hey, he can
Really
run.
soon.
yeah, we're going to see a guy that if he has the season that his ceiling is, he could be potentially in the Heisman conversation. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, he's that dang good, right?
Hmm.
If we have the right locker room, we have the right culture, then you do look at this as, okay, that was eye-opening. Like maybe we aren't exactly where we need to be, but if we do a couple of things different, that game could be very different. And both sides could say that. But I mean, 13 of 15 conversions on third down. If you get if they
Awful.
go, I mean, I don't want to make this a math thing right now, but if you get four more stops, I mean, which is like not, anything crazy. UAB last year, I think they were, if UAB defense, was similar percentage wise, and they stopped him 41%, or the opposing offense was 41% successful on third downs this past year. If UAB does that, just the average, like that game is not close because our offense was unable, or our offense did not struggle at all, besides the one play we talked about earlier, really.
Hmm.
So, anyways, long explanation, but I think that this is, if you have the right group, this could be a real positive, and you can learn probably a lot more from this type of game. That's a scare, and that's a close one where you had to finish the game. Than if you won this one, let's say 48-14. What do you learn more from? And I think the coaching staff can hopefully learn a lot from this. The players can learn a lot from this. It can be a wake up call, and if you got the right team and the right culture, then maybe it could pay dividends.
Mhm. And Darren, you played. I mean, that I bet that film room review today is going to be brutal. And you got to decide to take criticism and move forward, or are you going to be like, man, forget this. I don't care. Like the lack of effort. So you players listening, we encourage you to take. Hey, you saw a lot of bad last night. A lot of bad, especially on the defensive side of the ball. If that's the floor, only up from here. You learn from it. Hopefully, like Darian and Jimmy said earlier, we get a good couple of guys that were out last night, plug them in, and move forward because it's not gonna get any easier than last night. And it starts next Saturday at
Against
Navy.
arguably the favorite, like in this
Yeah,
in our conference, like
yeah,
arguably one of the best teams, like in on the road.
yeah. I
But
picked them to
but
win. Shoot.
it's like simple. It's simple things like keeping contained,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, we running pressure up the middle. Make sure you have contain on a freaking scrambling quarterback that's been eating you up already. Just contain. And then it's like, oh no, like I'm gonna give up a free first down, and because we got the pressure up the middle. Of course, he makes the first guy miss, and then he just runs. He literally nobody's out there. Or like
Hmm.
what kind of coverage are we in? He throws a 30-yard pass into like I'm like and the ball just kind of hangs up into a window. We're in the zone coverage, but every time we was getting in zone coverage, I don't think guys knew exactly what they were supposed to do in their zone because I'm like, dude, what are we doing? That's how we gave up the touchdown before the half when we were up 17-14, and it's like this long bomb. Man, let me tell you, Alabama State did nothing special on that play. Nothing. They just kind of just like jogged down. And the dude was kind of like, I'm wide open. Why am I wide open? I don't know why I'm wide open. And we had so many guys on our team that was just in an area where nobody was at. I'm like, what are we doing? We could have defended that pass. And when I say that, I am being dead serious. That
Hmm.
because all you had to do was identify the guy and be like, oh, go back. That dude right there. No, we had three guys just kind of sitting there like, I'm gonna I'm defending this blade of grass. You can't
Hmm.
you can't throw it to that grass right there, boy. Ha, I'm right here. And the receiver was just like, "I found money. I guess if y'all want to give me a touchdown, I'll take it, right?" And it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that that's burning me up.
Right.
Now when they got out there in the second half, it was kind of more like, damn, they just run his own right, his own left. Like, are we just getting blocked? Like, what's going on? But yeah, like just those busts you we can't if we take away bus that we had last game, I I mean this Alabama State game, I'm thinking
Yeah.
that we win by at least 21.
Oh yeah.
But that's just the nature of the game though. Like we've said that before a lot of times, and that's why I'm not saying, oh man, we can clean that up. We're going to clean. I'm not coming in. I've done that before, not doing that again. Because that's why I asked the question, is that
Hmm.
us? Is that us? And you got to be real about that. Is that just our DNA?
Oh.
Because we did that last year and the year before. We had a lot of us guys were, and it's just really frustrating for me to look back and I'm like, how do you coach this out of a team? I don't know. I want to be beat. I want to be beat fair and square. I want to look and be like, dang, this team just ran the ball down. Like we ain't nothing we can do. It's way more frustrating for me when I get on here. I'm like, what?
Mm. Yeah.
What? That's the part that burns me up. I swear I wouldn't. I'd be like, man, our guys just got. I mean, shit, when we
Hey,
play Tennessee, it might just be that, right?
is what it is, man. Come
But
on.
you know, a
Like
game we didn't bust last year, we didn't bust against Arkansas. And
no.
guess what? We almost won that game against this SEC team. And so that's what burns me up about this team is like, and Trent talks about it, he's like, our floor is so low. I,
Hmm.
I see exactly what that means because when we play to our ceiling, we can beat or we can compete with anybody
Hmm.
almost. well, I'm getting kind of outlandish with the anybody, but we can compete with a lot of teams almost if we just don't make mistakes. I just want to see us not make mistakes on offense and defense. Offense did a great job, and you
Hmm.
saw what happened. Defense made a lot of mistakes, and you saw what happened. So I just want a team where we play sound. And if we get beat, I'll be like, we just got beat 31-17 by Navy. It was just they were built a team. I'm happy. Let's move forward. I think we can grow. But I can't accept this as a fan. I can't accept us just making mistakes.
Well, what about the performance there? Speaking of sound football, that third quarter.
Yeah.
Third quarter. If you're looking for positive takeaways, that's something that we talked about on the Patreon. I think heading into the matchup against Alabama State through a 24 game sample size, UAB had outscored their opponent in the third quarter on five different occasions. And in those matchups, UAB was 5-0. And then last night, as we're seeing the third quarter and we had the 21-7 outcome, I almost texted you guys and said like, this is one of those signs, that
Yeah.
we can win this game.
Hmm.
Despite what it looked like, the momentum is shifting and we're doing it at the right time coming out of the locker room. So they held, the Alabama State offense to 7 total points in the third quarter. And now, although it was closer than we would have liked to, it didn't really carry over to the fourth quarter. UAB now is 6-0, 6-0 in the Trent Dilfer era when outscoring the opponent in the third quarter. And so kudos to everybody involved for that third quarter. And I think that
Yes.
was really that third quarter performance what optimistically we were hoping to see for 3 out of the 4 quarters probably in that game.
Hmm.
And that didn't come to fruition. But maybe there were some takeaways, and you got to look for, and we're not going to blow smoke, but we're going to try to balance this out. You got to look for some positives, and like we didn't see a lot of that in the first 2 years in that third quarter coming out of the locker room. So that's a sign that's positive, and they need to try to reinvent, at least on the defensive front, what they were able to accomplish in that third quarter more consistently. You start doing that, in the second and the third quarter, then you're cooking. You start doing that in the first and the second and the third, and then you're starting to really. So, anyways, that was one call out. And on the defensive side, I'm seeing here in some of the post game notes, just from an individual standpoint, shout out to Chris Burge, 4 tackles and 1 sack. He's a redshirt freshman. He had to play a good bit, or he earned the opportunity to play a good bit. Last night, I was joking with Darian in the text, number 59, coming off the edge, because Darian was one of the first people to ever talk about him. Like coming out of high school, Darian was really impressed with the film. I don't remember I think he played at Leeds. I'm just coming off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
it was
Okay.
Leeds.
So, local prospect came to UAB, has worked hard, and awesome to see him do well. So, career high for him. Amori Morrison, who we really haven't talked a lot about, I think he was injured during the spring, but he came over from ODU. His 6 tackles tied a career high. Biggie Smalls, Iman Smalls tied a career high with 4 tackles, and JV Jeremiah Vessel had 4 tackles, which was a career high. So, and we know what to expect from someone like a Sarah Bryant, so we don't want to not, mention Sarah Bryant's name. Pierre Royster coming over from, was it St. Francis? St. Francis, he had 6 tackles. Hightower had the fumble recovery. So just a few names to kind of throw out there. I would love to see Calvin Pitcher and Eddie Towsome, and who am I forgetting in the linebacker core? Eli
Eh,
Ennis
yeah.
Hmm.
build upon, their stints. Eddie Towsome, someone that he's like 6'5". We saw him coming up in the Blazer walk, and I'm pulling up at John. I'm like, this is
Hmm.
a big
Big.
specimen. This is a big dude. And we lost a guy like Michael Moore who was so versatile, who was also like 6'5", due to eligibility. And you would hope that we could get someone that a guy like Eddie Towson could help replace some of that lost production. So we hope that he can build upon that. And then we hope that Calvin Pitcher, who you mentioned earlier, had that sack. We
Hmm.
hope that Calvin Pitcher and Eli Ennis that were so productive at Idaho State and at Nichols. And those are two good. You saw Idaho State what they did in week one, that they gave UNLV all they wanted. And
Mhm.
Nichols faces Troy, I think, this weekend. They had a big opening win. Those are guys coming from good programs, although they're at the lower tier, that were super productive. Hopefully they can find their comfort level in this UAB defense, because those are going to be the things that move the needle. The injuries, getting those guys back, and then having those three guys step up a little bit more, I think are the beginning recipes of this UAB defense reaching better heights. And special teams, I don't know if we want to talk about that real quick before we wrap up. Special teams, hidden yardage. I haven't looked at all the statistics and stuff, but I felt like every time from a punt return with Strap returning it, I thought he had the
Mhm.
opportunity to go the distance every time. He was very patient and waiting for his blocks and found the holes and did a really good job in
He's gonna
flipping the
get one
field.
this year. Yeah, he's gonna
Yeah,
get one.
yeah, he's going to get one. And then I thought, kick returns were okay. And Owen, is it Owen Simpson, our kickoff specialist?
Yeah.
He booted quite a few in the end zone. So I think he's younger. I think he's a redshirt freshman or whatever, maybe a freshman. So it's good to see that. So and fun, Foley, who's done well in the last 2 years, didn't even have to go out there and even get a sweat. But shout out to and then DeLonga, converted. What was the field goal? Was it 43? I think it was
Like
Yeah,
40
somewhere.
King
ish. Yeah.
Jonah.
Yeah, King
King
Jonah,
Jonah.
started off the season on a positive front. So again, we've talked it to death. Special teams is essentially who we thought it was going to be. Offense, great performance. Everybody has room for improvement. Defense didn't play their best game, but there's still everything we thought about. The pieces are there. The coaching staff is still there. Everything on paper is still there. We didn't see it against Alabama State, but I think two things: getting some guys back from injury, and then seeing those linebackers have some better performances, especially starting with Navy, is going to be the keys to kind of start turning this thing around.
So it's not even about. Well, I want people to understand it's not about winning losses at Navy. It's not about
Oh.
that. It's
Mm.
about how we play. And I'm really looking at two things that I'm really going to be looking at, especially defensively. Um, I'm going to look at mentally how prepared we are in our effort. How do we play through the whistle? That's it. We're gonna miss tackles. Guys make plays. That's part of football. Guys make plays. But are we in the position that we're supposed to be in? And are we fighting like hell until we hear that whistle blow? Then on the offense, people is like, "Oh, offense did so great." Okay, that was one game. That was one game. When we get out there against Navy, all of a sudden you see different pressures. You see guys come. It's different
Mhm.
players. How do you hold up then? You're gonna get a whole bunch of pat on the backs, offensive line, running backs. Oh, receivers. Jalen Kentner, you did so well. He's gonna throw a pick or two sometimes. Like that's gonna happen. But it's all about the process of it, right? What's going on? What caused that? You know, if we're gonna give up a pressure or two. How does that happen? What do you do? How do you respond to that? That's what I'm more interested in. Well, a running back is going to fumble. A receiver is going to drop a pass. But how do we bounce back? We didn't. None of those questions came up because we just kind of steamrolled them on offense, right?
Mhm.
Well, we had a 4th and 1 that we didn't convert. Coaching staff. We was talking about like eye opening stuff. Coaching staff, especially on defense, how much of an eye opener it is for them, right? It's like, what did I do to where my guys were not prepared? Because those guys looked as if
Oh.
that's the thing that we don't get to see. I don't know what they talked about or what didn't they. I don't know if they pulling their hair out because, like, dude, we ripped that. I don't know, but for some reason, especially on the defensive side of the ball, those guys weren't prepared. They weren't. You know. Now I don't know if that's because again, I don't know if that's because they just didn't take the messaging or if the message didn't get delivered. So we shall see. So I think it's an eye opening for them to be like, we gotta we gotta get on it too. And I think everybody can look in it, and it works from them on up to the head coach, right? Everybody up to the AD. Everybody has to look in the mirror and say, what went wrong? How can I get better? I'm glad we got the dub. We got to learn a lesson and still get a win. We got a major
Hmm.
lesson. How can we at least look like we got that message when we go to Navy and we don't look like a whole bunch of lost sheep out there? That's all I want to see. Because if we look lost against this team, Navy will capitalize left, and we already saw it. And they will run crazy if we sitting there we thinking about where to go. Horvath is gone, touchdown. We all know that. They know that. They should know it better than anybody. So that's all I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking if we'll win or lose. No, no, no. How sure do we play? If they just block the hell out of us and they okay, cool. I swear I'm fine with that. I am. That sounds weird, but I'm like, we was right there though. Like we tried.
Yeah.
Like I'm not mad at it. I can't be. How can I be mad at that? Have you? Yeah, we all got kids. If you know your kid studied her butt off, right, or studied his butt off to do good on this math test, and she come back with that 73, I'm
Hey,
just like, you know what, baby? I've been
C's get
there.
degrees, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. I saw the work you put in. Sometimes it just is
Right.
what it is. We got another test we can do better. So that's how I look at this in
Now,
my mind.
conversely, if he son or daughter doesn't study at all for that test and get that same 73, we're not happy with that, you
Put
know.
that tablet away. Put
Let's go.
that tablet
Yeah.
down.
No
Don't
more
touch
bluey,
that.
baby. No more bluey.
No YouTube. None of that. No. Until we
We
get
we
right.
gotta
So
we gotta name some shows, get that algorithm going, right, Jimmy?
Yes, there you go. What shows we're gonna say? Uh,
Uh,
Mickey
why
Mouse
am I going
Clubhouse.
blank?
Pubstruction, baby. I don't know.
Miss Rachel.
Yes, Ms.
K-pop,
Rachel, Miss Rachel.
K-pop Demon Hunter. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
K-pop Demon Hunters is a big one. Yeah,
The
yeah,
Sasha
that's a big
Boys.
one. You a big fan, right?
No, I'm not.
I
It's sketchy. It's sketchy. It's sketchy.
I'm done
Uh,
hiding where
yeah.
I'm. Jimmy, do you know about K-pop Demon Hunters?
I don't yet. No, I
He's
don't
like,
know.
what
Uh,
the hell are y'all talking about?
I've watched that movie like 15 times. I know the songs. Like I got the
Okay.
soundtrack because my girls and they just
Fill
Yeah.
sing
my
it.
soda pop. Na, 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 na. Yeah. All right, we got to
Uh,
wrap up.
It's
Hey,
a it's a takedown. What's how the song go? I'm so
I-
you know what I'm talking about, the takedown song when they
yeah,
like
yeah.
fighting the demons.
Oh yeah, in the
I
plane.
know.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
what y'all's
No, no, no,
touchdown
no.
celebration would be. Now I see y'all dancing. I know what y'all would be doing if y'all scored a touchdown.
I'll
What?
get a penalty. I'll get a penalty these days.
Hey, oh yeah, 15 yards. Hey, speaking of penalties, only five for 40
Yeah.
yards.
And it
Only
was late
five.
that we picked up some of those late. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that. And hey, we won the second half. So like Jimmy said earlier, there are some bright spots, positive spots to take away from this game. I know if you read Twitter,
I
I
haven't been on
still,
Twitter. Everybody stay off Twitter.
yeah, for real. I'm gonna get on, post this episode, and I'm getting back off.
Yeah.
Because well, Darren, close us out as we head towards Navy.
Hey, everybody, let's send good positive energy or at least the most that we can muster into just getting better. So this is to getting better. See y'all next episode.